You can hear me clearly, just give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. प्रातस्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वं सच्चित्सुखं परमहं सगतिं तुरीयं यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवैति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते बोधोऽन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनम् पाक्यस्य वह्निवज्ञानम् विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति. सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. Okay. We'll jump straight to questions. We'll chant it later. Hari Om to everyone out there. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Okay.
Hari Om, everybody.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Okay. Are there any questions?
Sir, I had posted one question.
Who had posted the question? Acha. Lord talks about single pointed focus and devotion, and then there was Ravan, very learned, very well read. He worshipped Shiva to the extent of cutting his head and offering, and Lord getting pleased. Agreed, his ego and selfish desire made him do it. Why did Lord Shiva get pleased then? It refutes the statement. What refutes the statement? Lord Shiva getting pleased? See, the Lord, all these parables of the Lord getting pleased with tapasya is symbolic that the Lord doesn't get into the dvandvas of good and bad. It's the underlying enlivening principle. You can use it for evolutionary activities, you can use it for devolutionary activities. If you work very hard towards something, if you put tapas in any direction, there'll be success. The nature of the success may vary, it may be short-lived, but tapas is the cause and success is the effect. And someone who does great amount of tapasya will get the due effect for that. Because of the nature of their tapasya, they may not get Brahma Vidya, but they'll get a lot of wealth, a lot of pleasure, a lot of power, right? We are rewarded by our actions, we are punished by our actions. That's the principle. The Lord is simply that underlying enabler, enlivener. You can think of it as the one who holds the keys to cause and effect. Why is cause and effect functioning? Because Lord has filled the AMC bill for cause and effect. Doesn't go off anytime. Unlike your ACs, it goes off or something goes off. Why? Because there's no maintenance. So God is that AMC technician. He's making sure that karma is working. So there is karma, and based on your cause, there will be an effect. Selfish actions will also have effects. What, as you know, Maniji used the phrase, karma phala dada. That's the idea. That आपके जो कर्म है उसका फल आपको मिले, वही तो, that is causation. Right? What ensures that karma works to give that effect? That is the Lord. You do good action, there'll be a certain kind of result. You'll do bad action, there'll be a certain kind of result. But action will have a result. So where's the now we probably get confused because they use the term प्रसन्न हुए, भगवान प्रसन्न हुए. अरे ऐसे कैसे प्रसन्न हुए, वो तो इतना खराब है, उससे क्यों प्रसन्न हुए? We find it hard to digest that. But that idea of prasanna hona is just to push our understanding that the Lord is dvandvatita, beyond good and bad. It's beyond good and bad. Now you have to choose what kind of results you want. If you want wealth and power, but you don't care about too much about the long term, you want it now. Karo, selfish action karo. No issues. As long as you're ready for the consequences of it. As fast as the rise will be, so too will be the fall. The ego will get completely deluded. Karo. It'll be a couple of more decades of samsar for you. And God knows what, maybe a couple of more janmas of samsar for you. That's what it'll be. So we are not looking at things from a moral lens out here. Right? It's important to take out sort of moral ideas or presuppositions and just see this is what it is. This is karma. It's senayor ubhayor madhye. It's between the two armies. Matlab, it's not part of any particular army. Right? That's the symbolism of giving the Gita in between the two armies. That if you want to reach that state, you have to go beyond this duality, beyond this dvandva tita, beyond the two opposites.
Thank you, sir. It gives much clarity. Thank you.
Thank you. The last lines from last paragraph. Question from verse 17 of chapter 7. Of them, Jnani, ever steadfast, single-pointed devotion excels. I am extremely dear to Jnani and he is dear to me. Verse number 17, last paragraph. Krishna declares the Jnani to be extremely dear to him and himself dear to Jnani. Here in these lines in the last paragraph, how is Jnani's closeness to the self signified? What do you mean by signified?
Sir, I meant that you are saying that God cannot have a preferential treatment to the Jnani. So what does it actually signify?
It signifies that your thoughts and your awareness will always, first of all, you are close to the Lord, which means your thoughts will always land on the Lord's feet. That's it. That's all every situation you'll view from that perspective. Your full-time awareness will be on divinity. That is what is meant by you will be close to the Lord. And the Lord is close to you is just a reassurance that you're on the right path. You're actually getting closer. It's not that the Lord is coming closer. It means that whichever path you are moving in, you're getting closer. वो अगर ऐसे बोल दे तो दिल खुश हो जाता है. दिल खुश हो जाता है कि भगवान ने बोला कि मैं उनके पास हूँ. तो एंड ये होता है. मतलब देखिए, when I say कि the bhakta feels this, I mean within you there is the bhakta. अब ये फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मतलब हमें वेदांत में क्या बताया जाता है कि यू हैव अ jnani, a bhakta, and a yogi. You're a combination of all of those three. You may not have tapped into it. At some point, you will tap into it. Maybe your entry into this realm has been through jnanam, but there is that bhakta in you. So I'm not talking about some other person who will feel. There is that mind, that heart, that emotion in you which needs satisfaction to whatever extent it needs. One who is 80% devotional, they'll need to do hundreds of things. वो तो पंचोपचार एंड वो सब करते जाएंगे, भगवान की मूर्तियां सजाते जाएंगे. अब वो गलत नहीं है, उनका वो प्रपोर्शन ही उतना है. आपको शायद उतना नहीं लगता, बट कुछ लगेगा. मैं आपको ये बता रहा हूँ, आज नहीं तो कल. So that's when this closeness will resonate with you, because the mind feels, is this amounting to anything? So the Lord's given that reassurance. Don't worry, you're coming close to it. Is that it?
Other question.
What's the other question?
That was again just like, it was a after effect. This was the main question.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. Someone has written on the chat. Sure. Verse number what? Which verse are we on? 18.
18, I think.
Okay. उदारा सर्व एवैते ज्ञानी त्वात्मैव मे मतम् आस्थितः स हि युक्तात्मा मामेवानुत्तमां गतिम्. उदारा सर्व एवैते ज्ञानी त्वात्मैव मे मतम् आस्थितः स हि युक्तात्मा मामेवानुत्तमां गतिम्. Noble indeed are all these, but the Jnani I deem as verily myself. Look at that. He is close to me. I am close to him. No, he is myself. He is me. For steadfast in mind, he is established in me as alone as the supreme goal. So ये जो this journey, and this is specifically the interpretation of Advaita Vedanta, कि तत्वमसि, you are that. आप और भगवान अलग नहीं हो. आप बस जानते नहीं हो कि आप भगवान हो. And this is not the ego saying that I am God. No. When you remove the ego, what will remain in you, or what will effervesce out of you, is Godhood. Empty yourself and I shall fill thee. All of these, the Artha, the Artharthi, the Jigyasu. And look, I can see my own interpretation of this changing with time, because this is a very inclusive tradition. ये नहीं कह रहा कि ज्ञानी सिर्फ करेक्ट है. It's not about correct or wrong. It realizes that everyone is on their journey, and everyone has a certain level, and everyone needs to relate to divinity in their own way. And that's the beauty. We have created so many gods, goddesses, deities, stories, parables, so many practices, so many rituals, all to divinize every single aspect of your life. आप कुछ पाने जा रहे हो, पूजा करो. आपको कुछ मिलता है, पूजा करो. आपका कुछ खोता है, पूजा करो. जीवन के हर क्षण में, at every moment, how can you divinize it? That's the beauty of this tradition. So, but natural, distress or joy, profit or loss, gain or loss, knowledge or ignorance, these are very much a part of your life. When you remember the divinity in those moments with that intention, then you are a Artha, Artharthi, Jigyasu. So it's not that these are wrong. It's As he said, they're all noble. They're all noble. As opposed to one who dismisses divinity. ये सब में कुछ नहीं पढ़ा है. बेकार की बात है. I said last time that the word astic and nastic doesn't really cut it, because astic simply means one who believes in a certain Vedic way of, and the Vedas themselves are very comprehensive. There are hundreds of ways in which you can, comprehend, or belief systems you can have. But outside the Vedic system also, I think, so, Buddhism is considered, for example, a Nastic faith, which means it doesn't agree to a certain Vedic precept. But that doesn't mean they don't have a belief. It doesn't mean that there is no concept of a divine path out there. Yeah, the idea of the divinity may be different, slightly. I don't know if Jainism is also considered technically, I'm not sure. But I'm saying, when we say Nastic, we don't exclude all of these people. It's simply one who places their ego on the top. You can be so-called Hindu by name, by social position. आप घर में पूजा भी कराते होगे, बट आपको एक्चुअली अपनी पूजा करनी है. जब आप सोचते हो कि आप खुद पूजनीय हो, तब आप नास्तिक हो. आप अपने आप को भगवान के ऊपर बैठा रहे हो. If that's that's the Danava, that's the Asura he talked about in the previous verse, as opposed to those who have that tinge of humanity in them and recognize a divinity and bring divinity into the various sort of circumstances in their life, either in case of joy or distress, either in case of profit, wealth, or gain or loss, either in case of, and that's what we do. We pray with that intention. Oh God, please bless my house. उसमें कुछ गलत नहीं है, बट आप अर्थार्थी हो. अगर आप लक्ष्मी पूजा में उस भाव के साथ पूजा कर रहे हो, तो आप अर्थार्थी हो. उसमें कुछ गलत नहीं है. He is simply saying there is a graduation which is possible. And the more, it's not that you have to rush and force yourself to graduate. The more you invest in your own sadhana, the more time and dedication you put. आजकल क्या है, हम mechanically करते सब कुछ, right? But if we try to bring ourselves to the process, if we try to bring our minds and our hearts, try to understand and bring our awareness to the process, naturally questions will arise in you, resonances will be created, and you will want to know deeper, you will want to know further. That's the very purpose of creating all these rituals. That's the purpose of creating all these deities. That's the purpose of creating everything, so that your mind lands on God. आज के दिन में अगर ये भगवान नहीं होते, ये मूर्ति नहीं होती, ये स्पिरिचुअल कैलेंडर नहीं होता, यहाँ देखो मतलब हर दिन, अच्छा आज एकादशी है, आज चतुर्थी है, आज षष्ठी है, हाँ आज के भगवान को पूजा करना. ओह माय गॉड. But if you see, the point is, no one is here to tell you, okay, what to do. You think you have to do everything. अरे it's too much यार, I can't do all of this. बस एक को उठाओ. देखिए, हमने उठाया ब्राह्मण, पर ब्राह्मण तो निराकार है, उनकी क्या पूजा करेंगे? हाँ, उनकी पूजा है उपनिषद, उनकी स्तुति है उपनिषद. If I had to bring ब्राह्मण into a form, पर ब्राह्मण का आकार ही तो है सारे देवी देवता, right? So the entire tradition, an entire spiritual calendar has been created for us. It's for us to utilize it. It's for us to utilize it. एक क्वेश्चन आया था मेरे को कल को, why can't we put all the gods into one form? हाँ, सब कुछ एक ही में डाल दो. Imagine if you try to put hundreds of landscapes into one painting. It would be a cacophony. If you try to put hundreds of notes into one composition, it'll be terrible. It's not done that way. You won't be able to, it'll defeat the whole purpose. That's where the concept of an Ishta also comes. Ishta ऐसे नहीं मिलते हैं. Through your investment in this process, you develop a connection with a certain idea, a concept, a theme, a symbolism And whichever Lord represents that becomes your Ishta. And what is Ishta? उनका ख्याल मन में आए तो आप प्रसन्न हो. That's Ishta. That's it. So noble are all of these. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to interpret what does he mean by noble are all of these. ये सही मार्ग है. आप ऐसे मत सोचो कि मुझे तो ज्ञानी ही बनना है. ऐसे वेदांतिन में बहुत एक ख्याल आता है. Lot of people who don't sort of see the entire spectrum or see the entire journey as a single process, they try to say no, ये सब तो बेकार है. Noble है, but noble is a euphemism, you know. He wanted to say something else, but he said noble. No, that's not the case. Vedantins can develop a lot of ego about this. I want to be a ज्ञानी. सब मूर्तियों में क्या पढ़ा है? मुझे तो निराकार भक्ति is my path. All the best. If you want to do nirakar bhakti, we are all doing nirakar bhakti. Okay, so noble indeed are all of these, but the jnani, when you graduate, what do? You actually close the distance between you and me. You merge into me, and when you merge into me, you become me. I deem as verily myself. He doesn't deem that I am God. I deem that he is God. He has become. Why? Because he's bridged the gap. He's completed that journey. He's attained samadhi. A jnani is on the path to samadhi. So all of our practices, meandering processes, rituals, they're all created with the purpose of invoking in you that thought of what is the purpose of life? What am I here for? And that question leads you ultimately to the path of a jnani, who reaches the very abode of God. He becomes God. So I deem as verily myself, for steadfast in mind, with that steadfastness, with that conviction, with that dedication, with that eka bhakti, ananya bhakti, he's used those terms, eka bhakti, ananya bhakti, he has become established in me. And that's the supreme goal of life. Unbeknownst to you, take it or leave it. It doesn't matter. But that's your goal. That's what you're looking for. You're looking to merge into that consciousness. You call it fulfillment. You call it happiness. You call it ultimate peace. You call it bliss. Whatever you want to call it. So they're just showing us a path. That's it. And how have they shown us the path? Wherever you are, we'll pick you from there. It's not that, oh, this is the only medicine, take it. It's not like the Matrix, take the red pill or the blue pill. It's not as, brutal as that. You may be attracted to, that idea of the Matrix, the red pill or the blue pill? No? You have seen the Matrix? Today you leave all of this, you go watch the Matrix. Huh? The red pill or the blue pill is symbolic. Do you want to continue in a mundane existence, simply chasing your impulses and living in a false life, false world? Or do you want to seek and do you want to try to find the truth? But it's not a single choice. He's saying, don't worry, it's not so brutal. It's not that we'll separate you from where you are. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, we'll give you the right medicine, the right prescription that will help you slowly, shanai, gradually. That is sadhana. This is sadhana. But it requires only your dedication. If you commit to it, a guru will come into your doorstep. You don't have to find a guru. I am looking for a guru. No, you're not. You're not looking. That's the problem. When you have that sankalpa that this is what I want, a guru will land at you. And he may not come in the form you expect. He'll come in the form of, they say, Rabindranath Tagore says, his father found a torn page from the Ishavasi Upanishad when he was in one of the darkest phases of his life, but he was truly seeking. He found a torn page of the Ishavasi Upanishad. And that's where he, I think this is what he said in one of his letters. I think he's got a book called Sadhana, in which he's written these letters. It was a long time ago that I read it. Anyway, So he is established in me, and that is the supreme goal, as the supreme goal. That's the wisdom of a jnani. So a yogi, please remember. Can anyone remember what is the difference between a bhogi and a yogi? What is the
The
difference between a
bogey,
bhogi and a yogi?
yeah, bogey is one totally immersed in the world and experiencing the world and enjoyment through his BMI, body, mind, and intellect. Whereas yogi is one uses the same word but has a goal to reach the God about or to reach the self using the thing.
A yogi is
Okay.
aware of the divinity,
A yogi is
aware of the divinity around.
okay. Anything else?
The path on the path. Yogi wants to achieve a goal, like a phal.
Okay.
Target.
What else? I'm looking for a certain word.
If the word is an end, he is an bogey. If the word is a means, he is a yogi.
Okay, that's a good close. You're getting hot, 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 but you're getting warm, 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 but not hot. The yogi sees the world as a means to their ultimate goal, but the bhogi thinks the world is itself, everything.
The Bhogi thinks the world is real.
That's very high level. But yes, okay, that's all correct. I'm looking for a certain word.
In my selfishness.
All of you all have forgotten.
Really forgotten.
A yogi is one who suspects. A yogi is one who has that inquiry. That's it.
Curious.
Please remember, there's a journey between a yogi and a sannyasi, a yogi and a jnani. You can't have that conviction on day one. Today I can't tell you सब कुछ छोड़ छाड़ के चलो संन्यास ले लो. You'll be like मैं तो यहाँ से निकल रहा हूँ. हाँ, मेरा मार्केट कैप अच्छा खासा बढ़ रहा है. मुझे ये एंजॉय करने दो. ये सब में नहीं पढ़ना मुझे. No, but a yogi is one who is stepping into the temple of spirituality and beginning to feel, okay, maybe there's something more. Suspicion. That journey from suspicion to conviction. Suspicion that maybe there's something more. Conviction that this is the supreme goal. That's a jnani. So a yogi grows from yoga to vairagya to sannyas to complete conviction. That's sannyas. I know some of us are very happy we are on this side of the spectrum. That's okay. You can stay on this side of the spectrum as much as you want. The bhogi to yogi side. One step in bhoga, one step in yoga. But if you want the true joys of this, right now it seems daunting to you. It may seem. Which is why we don't talk so much about, we don't talk about leaving anything. We don't talk about sannyas. We don't talk about these things because it's not something that will relate to you. अरे इतना डाइट करना पड़ेगा, इतना ये करना पड़ेगा, ये नहीं खाने को मिलेगा, ये नहीं. If you give someone who is completely immersed in bhog vilas, in indulgence, if you tell them, listen, you get on this diet, you will not be allowed to eat this, you will not be allowed to eat that, you'll have to follow a schedule. What will they say? भाई ये सब छोड़ो यार, मेरे को, you know. But you bring them a slight routine, small routine. They'll themselves start feeling the pleasure of healthy eating. There'll come a time when they themselves will make a schedule for themselves. Listen, I don't want to take that extra sugar in my coffee. When it comes from yourself, when you relate to it, that's conviction. Gradually. इतना भी शनै नहीं, थोड़ा धक्का भी देना पड़ता है. हाँ, थोड़ा धक्का देना पड़ता है लोगों को, और यही है एक गुरु का काम. बट अगर आपको नहीं चाहिए तो गुरु कुछ नहीं बोले. पुनरपि जननम पुनरपि मरणम. All the best. Okay, verse number 19. बहूनां जन्मनामन्ते ज्ञानवान् मां प्रपद्यते वासुदेवः सर्वमिति स महात्मा सुदुर्लभः. बहूनां जन्मनामन्ते ज्ञानवान् मां प्रपद्यते वासुदेवः सर्वमिति स महात्मा सुदुर्लभः. At the end of many births, the man of wisdom reaches me, realizing all of this is Vasudeva. Such a great soul is very difficult to find. So, this only reaffirms what I have just been saying, that this is a gradual process and you come to it. You can say at the end of many years, at the end of many births, one and the same thing. We keep reiterating the fact that you're sitting in this classroom counts you among 1 in a trillion. Why 1 in a trillion? Because there's so many other beings which are not human. Some animals are blessed. I think my dogs are. One of them was definitely blessed, and this one also.
All the pets are blessed.
Huh?
All the pets are blessed nowadays.
Oh, I've seen some terrible ones. Huh? अच्छा ठीक है, इसके बारे में बात नहीं करेंगे. बट मैं अपने बारे की बात कर लूँ तो you all have been to some of you have been to the Gita Academy. He'll come and he'll sit in the class. But I don't want to give him too much credit. He's happy he's sleeping. I don't know how much he's listening. So at the end of many births, the very fact that you have landed here with a certain interest, with a certain inquiry, with a certain awareness, just try to take a minute to cognize how much that would have taken. Why are you interested in this? Why are you asking this question? There's so many beings that are not asking this question. Why are you asking these questions? Why do you resonate with these ideas? It's because you have walked the path. You have been through many births. And the intensity with which you come into this incarnation is only a sign of, okay, God knows what all I did in the past to come here. So at the end of many births, that man of wisdom, the Jnani, the one with the conviction that my supreme goal is Samadhi, realizing that all of this is Vasudeva. Vasudeva, again, for those of you who are historically inclined, our tradition has always been one of integration with various gods and deities, right? So, for example, the way in which a lot of local deities, devis, a lot of gods, a lot of symbols have been integrated and created one idea, umbrella of Hinduism. There must have been a deity, you combine it with Pandurang, you combine it with Krishna, and there's a certain form. Similarly, Vasudeva, historically they say, was perhaps an erstwhile deity which sort of got aligned with this idea of Krishna, right? Or whatever that idea of Vishnu was arising at that time. Either way, for us what is important is Vasudeva means Brahman, reality. So a Jnani realizing that all of this is Vasudeva, all of this is reality. I am not this body, not this mind, not the intellect. I am not this that I imagine myself to be. It's an imagination. When I wake up, I'll realize this is all. It's just like a dreamer who wakes up and then realizes it's all a figment of my imagination. Actually, what exists is the reality, right? So realizing that this is all reality, such a great soul is indeed very difficult to find. This is a true Mahatma. He uses the term Mahatma out here. Iti sa Mahatma Sudurlabha is difficult to find. And our nation, our land has been blessed with them. It's actually not that difficult to find if you're looking. This nation has been blessed, this land has been blessed with and among the numerous of them which exist all around us, we are blind to them. That doesn't mean they don't exist. There are many that rise to prominence every 15-20 years and make a tectonic shift in society, as per the requirements of the time. One can argue they can do a better job, I don't know. Are we improving as much as we need to? But then that's not there. It's our own conviction which has to grow. But such a great soul is rare. That's what he means to say. It's not something that comes, आज मैंने मन बना लिया कि मुझे. I really wish I could make this a little easier for you today, Such is the nature of the discussion. Huh?
Listens, he's read the Gita for children, so he's a little initiated.
Yeah, I should have prepared for that.
No worries.
Huh?
You do well in chess today.
You're playing chess.
Yeah,
What's your rating? Boom! I've got a lifetime high of 1350. Let's play.
That's good.
Yeah? But I don't learn any tactics and all. That's my problem. You'll teach me? Okay, I'll get back to you on this.
Coincidentally, it was in Alipos at a great example. He didn't say no once also. It's a 10. So, he said, I'll come. He's taken many lives to, reach here.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Yeah? Okay. No more attention on me. That's fine. That's enough. We have Divyaji who's brought a son here because he's got a chess tournament. So I'm talking about Vasudeva, and I thought I need to make it a little more relatable for him or include him a little more. Okay, that's good. I don't doubt it. Okay, verse number 20.
Just a small incident, Usavji. When are you able to hear me?
Yeah, all clear.
When Vivekananda was there in US, and when the group of people were asking that, the US and other European countries were developing so much in science and technology, and they were asking what India is doing. The famous reply of Vivekananda was, for ages and ages, India creates sages and sages. I just thought I'll share it here.
Now that's not something that we should sit and be proud about necessarily, because the tragedy is that from a land of sages we live in a society filled with tamas. It's an insult to the sages who have come from our land. No matter how many sages you have around you, uddhared atmanatmanam, you have to lift yourself by yourself, right? We find it hard to maintain a queue in this country. We find it hard to accommodate another person in this country. At the drop of a hat, we are willing to fight. Why? Tu janta nahi mera babu. Poor sages, their souls are really struggling. So in many counts, the so-called mundane materialistic world is far ahead of us. Nothing to be proud about. We have to live up to the legacy of the sages. That's what I'm trying to say. Right? From a land that has created sages and sages, we are very fortunate that this tradition still exists. It's their work. They have created certain, of course, the idea of lineages and practices and a way to preserve this timeless knowledge. But who values it today? आपके घर में गीता जी पढ़ी रहती है, आपके घर में कितने स्क्रिप्चर्स पढ़े रहते हैं, पढ़ता कौन है? पढ़े रहना और पढ़ने में बहुत फर्क है. Verse 20.
एक बच्ची को किसी ने रुपया दिया 10 रुपया, तो वो बच्ची की कहाँ रखेगी, तो ले नहीं ले कोई नहीं, तो उसने उनके घर में गीता पढ़ी थी, और ये तो कोई पढ़ता नहीं, उसी में रखती. ये हाल है.
It's invaluable. The Gita is invaluable. All my money is stashed in there. Kamaistairhata jnanaha prapadyante devataha tam niyamamasthaya prakritya niyatasvaya. Kamaistairhata jnanaha prapadyante devataha tam niyamamasthaya prakritya niyatasvaya. Those deprived of wisdom approach other gods through various desires, resorting to corresponding rites led by their own nature. This may seem like a criticism or almost an indication that people who worship other gods are, in any way. But it has to be taken from the context of a jnani. Who is he calling a person of wisdom? One who has gained that conviction. Everyone else is not a jnani. Everyone else is somewhere on the path. So that's why we are deprived of wisdom, the ultimate wisdom. So we need all sorts of gods and goddesses. We need all sorts of concepts and theories. Forget gods and goddesses. We need concepts and theories to explain to us. Acha sanchita karma or prarabdha karma or this karma or that karma. Arey, whatever karma. Best thing in Vedanta is you can say one thing one day, the other thing the other day, people will believe both of them. So, when we say a person of wisdom, we're talking about the highest. All of us are somewhere on the journey, but haven't reached that conviction yet. We may have suspicion, we may have devotion, we may have dedication, right? So, we cannot comprehend the ultimate big G God, so we approach various small g gods and goddesses. And we have multiple deities to whom we pray to. Remember, I've told you that also has a purpose. The nature of this culture is that wherever you are, let me plant a god, so that your thought goes to a god. Not to put, it's very hard to pull your mind there. So wherever you are, let me slowly drag you up. So they approach other gods through various desires, because ultimately there is some other intention in the back, either for health, either for wealth, either for name or fame or success or protection or whatever it is. Removal of fear, removal of obstacle, vigna harta, whatever it is, right? So there are all sorts of desires, noble desires, nothing wrong, right? But they are deprived of that ultimate wisdom. Is Maya Jal mein phas ke, we have created the problems for ourselves and we are trying to get out of it. Or finding some solution, not get out of it, finding some solution for it. So various desires, resorting to corresponding rites. इनके basis पे रीति होते हैं, रिवाज होते हैं. Depending on the tradition, certain things are done, and some crazy things are done. Huh? Let me tell you that. In many ways, I feel I'm so blessed that Vedanta has come into my life. Otherwise, it's an endless pit. Ye magic, wo magic, ye totka, wo totka. I mean, for all that this culture, the beauty that this culture has given us, there's a lot of rubbish also in it. Why? Because everyone becomes a Swami, everyone becomes a Guru, everyone becomes a, and that's the problem of decentralization. Huh? Anyone who's a proponent of centralization will say decentralize करोगे तो हर कोई कुछ ना कुछ कह देगा, and वो होता ही है. The beauty is that if you wait long enough, whatever is not true, whatever is not aligned with truth, simply fades away. ऐसे कितने बाबाएं आए हैं, ऐसे कितने philosophies आए हैं, ऐसे कितने thoughts आए हैं, and they attract a certain amount of people for a certain amount of time, but it dies a natural death. Why? Because it's not aligned with truth. What is time tested? Time tested is a certain validation. That's it. I'm not saying you have to believe anything that is time tested blindly, but being tested by time is a validation. अगर एक ही चीज़ ह्यूमैनिटी 5000 साल से बोल रही है, इट्स टाइम टेस्टेड, मतलब उसमें कुछ है सुनने लायक, आपके विवेक के लायक कुछ है, उसको सुनना समझना. So they, through various rites, resorting to various desires resorting to corresponding rites, led by their own nature, your own swabhava, your own nature, your own desires, your own gunas, keep you preoccupied in a certain level in life, right? And for that we have created various gods and goddesses, and that's whom you pray to and seek their blessings. That's what it is. But fact of the matter is, you're not a jnani yet. You are deprived of that ultimate wisdom. Slowly you will get there also. Verse number 21. We'll take one more verse. Beautiful verse. Memorize it. Yo yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayarchitam ichchati tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadamyaham. Yo yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayarchitam ichchati tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. Whatever form, yo yam tanum bhaktaha, whatever form a devotee seeks to worship with shraddha, I make that shraddha of his unswerving. So who am I? You have created so many small g gods around a big G God. So who is that big G God? He is simply that Adhar. Wherever your thought goes, I make that thought solid. What's he saying? That the way to actually, wherever you are, the way to actually pull yourself up is Shraddha. With Shraddha alone do you progress in life, in any field. It could be materialistic, it could be spiritual, whatever. You need that dedication, that focus. Shraddha has that capacity in you to see something to an end. You have conceived a goal, you have conceived a mission for yourself. Shraddha is that sort of strength which will take you there, which will not allow you to get derailed. So he says, whatever Shraddha you develop, that's your job. Whatever Shraddha you develop, as long as you have Shraddha, I strengthen it. He says, whatever Shraddha a devotee has, I make that unswerving. That's my role. If you ask me, what does God do? He makes your Shraddha unswerving. I'm not improving. I'm not able to understand. I'm not able to work it out. I'm not able to change. Sorry to cut it, but that's because of a lack of Shraddha. Mountains can move with Shraddha. Mountains can move with Shraddha. So everything is here to support you and inspire you. But you have to lift yourself by yourself. Whatever form. And this is a validation that why there are so many gods and goddesses. Everything has been created. That's the medicine for you, for the illness that you have. That's the remedy for you, where you are. That's why those deities and gods and goddesses and this entire pantheon is there. So whatever you choose to worship, as long as you do it with Shraddha, I'll make it unswerving. And that Shraddha will take you further. That Shraddha will open deeper and deeper journeys for you. With that thought, with that Shraddha, we'll conclude today. Hari Om. I'm happy to take up any questions. Yeah, I don't plan this. I love how, see, this is why it's a beautiful poem. Because one thought flows into the other, but in a very poetic way. I don't plan all of this. It's just how it happens. So, Anji, are there any questions? मैं दूर रहता हूँ तो मेरे को सताते रहते हो, 1 घंटा क्वेश्चन आंसर कराते रहते हो. मैं सामने आया हूँ तो नो क्वेश्चन. हाँ जी दिव्या जी.
ये जो हम भूल जाते हैं, ये जो हम भूल कर आए, the fact that we were born and then we didn't remember anything, it's Maya. This is also God's doing. So why does He do this to us? Why does He make us forget? Why doesn't He want us? Why doesn't He want us to remember?
Apohanam, forgetting. That's a fabric of this world we live in. Because forget God for a moment, right? Because if you're truly asking that question, a Vedanta will come and say that God is not doing anything. Ultimately, we say you are that God. You are the one who has forgotten yourself. So your question is, why is this happening? Why is it happening? Right? Now, there is no satisfactory answer to this as to why it has happened. All Vedanta says is that step out of it, and then you'll realize. And then you'll realize what has happened, when it happened, how it happened, did it happen, right? But if you're looking from the perspective of karma theory, the very fact that you are born is because you have vasanas. And vasanas is nothing but ignorance, right? And in your ignorance, as you are pursuing fulfillment, you create a lot of attachments, a lot of complications, a lot of experiences, a lot of traumas, right? Apohanam, from that perspective, is a gift. Thank God you've forgotten so much. All the rubbish of your previous life. Huh? Yeah.
And we forgot God also. We forgot our...
When you realize, then there's no There was never a time when you remembered God. You came here because you've forgotten. Wherever this is, and for however long you've been. Right? That's why you're here. And what is here? Here is this belief that Aham Tattva, I am Divya with this body, with this mind. I am Divya with this role and responsibility. I am Divya with this situation. I am Divya with these possessions. I am Divya in this as a mother, as a friend, as a wife, as a doctor, whatever. That is Aham Tattva, right? And we grasp onto this Aham Tattva and we live our lives, believing that we can take care of ourselves. But if you are with this Aham Tattva, you are simply in this samsara, this bhavasagar, as you say. And in this bhavasagar, there is dvandva, there's ups and downs, there's opposites, there's good and there's bad, there's pain and there's joy, there's gain and there's loss. And so naturally, your Aham Tattva goes when there's, this is the sinusoidal life that we have, and not just one life. So, this is the theory of karma. And why is this happening? Because of the Aham Tattva, because of your vasanas. See, the further you go in this inquiry, the greatest of sages will just say, shut up, meditate, empty your mind of all thoughts. If this question becomes meaningful enough to you, then a sage, if you go to Ramana Maharishi, you know what he'll say? Who's asking this question? Forget all this karma theory, varma theory, vasanas, ye, wo, God has forgotten, you have forgotten. Who is asking this question? Who are you? Are you this body that you imagine yourself to be? When the body is healthy, you are happy. When the body feels pain, you're sad. Is this you? If I were to cut off your hand, what happens of that hand? Fling it like a stick. Is that you or is this you? Are you this mind that is feeling all these emotions? That has celebrated in joys and that has been distressed in sorrow? When you delve into this meditation, that's the sort of the penultimate, or you can say the ultimate journey. All sadhana is to bring you to that point, this asana. All sadhana is to shut off everything else your mind is preoccupied with, if you truly want to know the answer to it. Because words won't cut it, theories won't cut it. All theories are there to pacify your mind so that it can stay shant, it can stay sthir. Otherwise, your mind is asthira. It wants to know, it feels lost, it's looking for answers, it's jumping for avenues to, look for something. It's asthira by nature, and it's chanchal. It jumps from one place to another. Why? Because there are attachments. Right? So, all the journey culminates in this, if you ultimately want to know. Seen from this lens, it can seem like a very isolating journey. It's not. And that's why you have the entire Sangha. That's why you have Satsanga. That's why you have the various paths, Karma, Bhakti, Jnana. And of course, there are elements of the path which are extroverted, there are elements of the path which are introverted, which you share with others, and there are practices which you do with yourself, for yourself. Right? But it's not an isolating journey. Okay.
Can you just share your experiences with Swamiji when you met him recently in Mumbai, if it is so? or if you're not shared. Thank you.
So I met Swamiji after a long time. He's last 1 year he's not been, you know, I'm sure he wouldn't want to hear this, but the body at some point is catching up. So now, just about 2.5 years ago, he was still walking and stuff like that. Now he's primarily sort of, restricted to his bed. So he's, stays stationed at home mostly. So he thought that I had forgotten him. Huh? So in a way, I was very glad that he remembered me also, because with age, memory is, and it's just so. The aura around him is so beautiful, especially to one who associates with him, with the work he has, put into life and given us. So I always feel I feel I belong around him, and there's a coffee table book that they are working on. So I got early access. There's a coffee table book on his life and his experiences, which is going to come out in maybe 2 or 3 volumes, I don't know. So the first volume of that, of his birth till his years in school, his learning, his family, then his college days, his interest in sports, and then his initial work days, and then when he took, when he joined the Chinmaya mission, those early sort of memoirs, some photographs, some this and that. That's what we were going through, and every experience he was recounting. And whenever, at least it's been my experience, whenever I go, they schedule maybe 10 minutes for me, I end up staying very long, and his chief assistants always make a face. So I ended up spending an hour and a half with him, and he was gleefully remembering all of his experiences. But more than anything, being in his presence was so reassuring, that here is someone whose life's work has shown me the path to pursue my journey. So he means everything to me. It was very nice. I told him, I promised him I'll go. In fact, just yesterday I was thinking, it's been 2 months, I should go and see him again. So because I promised him I'll go and see him again. So it's a blessing to be around. Who is a sage? A sage is one who has dedicated their life to sadhana, right? Who eats, drinks, sleeps, breathes sadhana in whatever form. And that's the advantage of this country. You can have access to such people, and they'll come in any shape and form. They don't, I've had the fortune of having met multiple people. Just in fact, yesterday I was with someone who is extremely, endearing in their own way, and just a couple of days ago I was in Shanti Niketan. I was at an ashram. So if you're looking, if you want to seek, you'll find so many of them. You'll find so many of them.
So can I ask a one more question?
Anji.
So the attachment of being a Hindu has become also there's a lot of agitation. There also I was hearing the news on Nepal border, Kuchum or something or someplace. So what do you think about it?
What do I think about?
The attachment to being a Hindu causing so much agitation.
See, a Hindu is one who is aligned to dharma, and dharma is standing up for certain, one of the aspects of dharma is standing up when you need to, right? A Hindu, it is equally an aspect of dharma to seek the truth and not be simply, driven away by untruth. So being a Hindu is actually a tall task. It's not just a badge of honor you can wear, because you were born into a certain family. So, as a Hindu, it is your responsibility to stand up against adharma. It's also a responsibility to find or see beyond, what the many voices are telling you. You know, in the Bhagavad Gita, it would have been so easy for Krishna to stir Arjuna. To make him act out of hatred, to make him act out of a sense of being wronged, a personalization, right? He didn't do that. So if you are standing up for dharma with that sense of, egoistic aggression, then you have to seek the truth. I'm not saying you shouldn't stand up. I'm not saying you shouldn't stand up. In fact, there's a lot in the world where I feel we as a, if you follow me on Instagram, I do share once in a while some, which may stir hearts. But my intention is not to stir your heart. My intention is to give you, because a lot of the voices that play around us, a lot of the media that plays around us, it's a selective reporting, it's a certain narrative and stuff like that. So you should be aware of everything. And then stand up for what you think is right. So it's not the easy way is to say, I am from this faction and I'm going to go against you. That's the easy thing to say. Of course, you need to have a collective identity is also very important. And but always seeking the sort of the truth is very much the responsibility of a Hindu.
And tolerance?
Tolerance against what?
Don't think that Hindus are very tolerant. They are made tolerant. But after a point.
But tolerance is not a weakness, no? It shouldn't be taken as a
Ah,
weakness.
not a weakness. Yeah, it should not be a weakness. It should be a strength rather.
What I'm saying is that if you don't know the truth, you'll be intolerant to something. If you know the truth, then if you're seeking the truth and have found out the truth, then you should be absolutely not tolerant to adharma. But someone who is also misled, that can be. So tolerance is seen as a weakness. People don't want to know the truth. People are just too self-consumed.
You can't know the truth. How will you know the truth?
Of course you can. You have to learn how to read between the lines. You have to. There's some. Yesterday I was looking at one. I follow this one independent journalist, and he gave a link to a website where any story you read in the in news, whatever, because social media we are only given what we follow. So it's only reiterating what is your perspective. So he said that's a website where whatever article or whatever news you have read, it presents multiple sources and multiple articles which may give a different perspective. Pratipaksha bhavana. It's very important to have pratipaksha bhavana. I follow certain journalists whose so-called apparent ideologies I may not align with.
But this is totally changed. I know there's totally.
I don't. No, that's fine. It's nice actually. You have to learn the art of taking away the noise and listening to whoever it is, whether it's to a Arnab or a Narko, whatever.
Creates noise in the room.
And that's also the thing, na? I mean, now do you want to be among the millions who are just, I don't know, but sometimes I feel this is Kali Yuga. This is the meaning of Kali Yuga. But as what is important is your personal, and through your personal example, you create an impact on others around you. You create your own conviction. So stand up for what is right. Have no tolerance for dharma, but seek the truth. And listen to Pratipaksha to come to your conclusion. Since we are talking, I'm just going to end the recording, okay? Okay. Hari Om, thank you so much. I have to end the recording because I'm going to start saying things which I shouldn't be recorded.
It's an injustice, Kusuji.
हाँ जी.
You can still be online.
I said it's an injustice.